Some Kind of Wonderful by Amy Landis. What is Some Kind of Wonderful? It's a 1987 romantic drama produced by John Hughes, starring Eric Stoltz, Mary Stuart Masterson, Leah Thompson, and Craig Schiffer. Keith Nelson, Eric Stoltz, is a high school outcast who works in a garage, loves art, and has a female for a best friend. Watts, Mary Stuart Masterson, is a high school outcast who loves drumming and is Keith's tomboyish best friend who is in love with Keith. Amanda Jones is the most popular girl in school, Hardy's girlfriend, and the object of Keith's newfound affection. Hardy Jens, played by Craig Scheffer, is the most popular boy in school who becomes Amanda's jealous ex-boyfriend after she accepts a date with Keith. The high school student Keith becomes infatuated with a popular girl named Amanda. Watts discourages Keith about asking Amanda out on a date because she has feelings for Keith. Amanda, after catching boyfriend Hardy cheating on her, uses Keith and accepts his date proposal. Hardy witnesses the date's proposal and makes his own plans to get even with Keith on the night of the date. Amanda gets pressured by her friends to break the date with Keith. Watts develops deeper feelings for Keith after offering to teach him how to kiss. Amanda gets snubbed by her friends and reluctantly agrees to bring Keith to Hardy's house after the date. Keith finds out about the date and that it's a joke and decides to go through with it. Watts volunteers to drive for Keith and Amanda's date. Amanda enjoys the date with Keith and confesses the truth about going to Hardy's house. As the date ends, Keith foils Hardy's plans to beat him up. Amanda witnesses Keith discovering the feelings he has for Watts as Watts walks away, and Amanda gives Keith back his gift and tells him that she wants to be single and encourages Keith to go after Watts. Keith catches up to Watts. As they figure out their true feelings for each other, Keith gives Watts the gift she had secretly hoped for. This is the scene where Keith and Watts' first discussion about Amanda Jones takes place at the garage where Keith works. The elements for interpersonal communication. There are many elements of communication in this scene. Keith starts off as the sender, asks Watts, starting off as the receiver, if she knows Amanda Jones. The conversation goes back and forth between them, both of them becoming the senders and the receivers. The message in the communication is Keith telling Watts about his feelings for another girl. Watts provides feedback when she tells Keith her opinion of Amanda Jones. The environment where this scene takes place is the garage that Keith works at. The noise is the sounds coming from the garage, such as a bell sounding when a customer pulls in for gas. In this scene, Keith asks Watts what she thinks of Amanda. Watts begins a teasing conversation with Keith regarding Amanda. The conversation continues to go back and forth as Keith explains his curiosity with Amanda. During the conversation, the listening skills I observed was evaluative. Evaluative listening is when you are being persuaded by an opinion. Even though she was teasing Keith, Watts was trying to sell her opinion of Amanda to Keith, who didn't buy it. The internal barriers that prevented Watts from listening effectively was the shock that Keith had asked her about another girl. This hurt her ego, and she became defensive. The external barrier was the radio playing in the background and the sound of the work Keith was doing. The way these barriers could be overcome is that Keith could have stopped working during the conversation, and Watts could have put her feelings aside and listened to her friend. In this scene, the different social-economic culture between the main characters is first mentioned. The most significant culture difference in this movie is the social-economic class. The characters are all normal American teenagers who attend the same high school. The difference between them is what class of people they were born into. The social status at school is that Keith, Watts, and Amanda are part of the lower-class students. Hardy is an upper-class student. Keith and Watts are sort of outcasts and not really accepted by their fellow students. They are considered different because of their likes. Keith likes art, Watts likes the drums, and where they live and where they are from. Although Amanda is from the lower class, she is accepted by the upper class because of her beauty and because she's Hardy's girlfriend. Hardy is upper class, and he is popular because of his social economic status. He has a large house and a nice car, and is accepted by everyone. Verbal communication. In this video, the scene takes place in the yard at Watts' house. Keith and Watts are having a conversation about Amanda Jones. Watts once again points out the fact that Amanda is out of Keith's league. The back-and-forth conversation includes the use of cliches, which are overused expressions, and idioms, which are words that can't be interpreted literally, by both Keith and Watts, makes this an example of informal language.
Amanda Jones doesn't know you, doesn't care about you. You're trying to jerk off the impossible. How many times do I have to listen to myself tell you this? I don't know. How many times?
Do you know what kind of a guy Hardy is?
Handsome, rich, muscular, popular, hot, happening, and capable of reducing your head to a crimson stain on the wall.
Hardy's a jerk. He screws around on her. He treats her like dirt. He has no respect for her.
And obviously she gets off on it. You're losing it. And when it's lost, all you are is a loser.
Well, you obviously have no idea how I feel, so why don't you just butt out of this, please?
I know how you feel.
Oh, you do? Really? You've been in love before.
There's a lot of things you don't know about me.
Really? Who have you ever been in love with? Huh?
You want to abuse yourself, be my guest.
Hey, Watts, nothing ventured, nothing gained, right?
Keith, once a fool, always a fool, right?
Nonverbal communication. In this scene, Amanda catches Hardy flirting with another girl. She gets angry and breaks up with Hardy. The nonverbal communications are Hardy's body language. He tries to act nonchalant when he gets caught. He uses hand gestures to express his question, what? Amanda's body language shows her anger. She puts her hands on her hips and gets into Hardy's personal space. They both use facial expressions, such as smirks and raised eyebrows, as meta messages to get each other to recognize anger and jealousy. Verbal communication versus nonverbal communication. This scene takes place at the art room at the high school. Hardy decides to pay Keith a visit after witnessing Keith ask his ex-girlfriend Amanda on a date. Hardy walks in on Keith and almost catches him painting Amanda. He invites Keith to bring Amanda to his house party on the same night as the date. Keith is unsure of Hardy's visit, and Keith's body language shows that he is uncomfortable and nervous. Hardy keeps his tone and pitch the same, while Keith's pitch rises because he is skeptical about Hardy's true intentions. The communication is both effective and ineffective because Hardy is lying. He is working harder to keep his words formal, his vocal tone normal, and his facial expressions friendly. Keith has doubts about the way Hardy is using both verbal and nonverbal communication, and he convinces Keith that he has no ill feelings towards him and gets Keith to agree to come to his house. In this video, Watts disguises her attraction to Keith by offering to help him practice kissing. She already feels that her relationship with Keith is very open as she talks to Keith about everything going on in both of their lives. She uses the situation to change the novelty predictability in their relationship by convincing Keith he should know how to kiss a girl. She walks Keith through what she believes are the proper steps to deliver a kiss that kills, but fails to realize just how much the kiss would affect both of them.
I don't think I'm being weird, but what if she wants you to kiss her?
Well, then I guess I'm just gonna have to kiss her.
Amanda Jones is no minor leaguer who'll be swept off her feet at the touch of your amateur lips.
Thanks.
This babe has plenty of battle scars.
I think I can handle it.
Great. Well, I just think maybe you should consider whether or not you feel you can deliver a kiss that kills.
What, you think I can?
If you say you can, you probably can.
Well, no, I'm no expert.
It's cool. I was just going to work on it with you, but if you're comfortable, great.
Wait. How do you work on it?
Pretend I'm a girl, okay? I mean, pretend I'm her, Amanda. I know it's a big stretch, but try it. Come here. I didn't mean to scare you. Alright. What do you do with your hands?
Well, it depends.
No, it doesn't depend. They go on her hips.
Okay.
Do it. my eyes. Come on, I don't have to do this.
I know, I'm sorry.
Just grow up a little.
So probably this. How do you know?
I watch a lot of TV. Close your eyes.
What?
Lesson's over. You're cool.
This video starts off as Keith and Amanda are leaving Hardy's house after Keith foils Hardy's attempt to have Keith beaten up. Keith starts to realize his feelings for Watts as he sees her at the end of the driveway. Amanda sees the way Keith and Watts are looking at each other and realizes that Keith's true feelings are for Watts and gives back the earrings that he had given her earlier in the day. Amanda then tells Keith that she wants to be alone and encourages Keith to go after Watts because she had left. Watts realizes the autonomy connection that he and Watts have and finally figures out that he is in love with Watts and already has a closeness and openness relationship with her.
Nice move. I saw it from out here. Well, why don't you guys run along? I'm gonna walk. My butt's asleep from sitting all night. I'm sorry if I misjudged you. Keys are in the car. Remember how I said I'd rather be with someone for the wrong reasons than alone for the right ones? I'd rather be right. It's gonna feel good to stand on my own. In your heart, you wanted to give these to somebody else. Go. Come on.
Sorry. I didn't know.
Yeah, well, you're stupid. I always knew you were stupid.
Why didn't you tell me?
You never asked. I wanted these. I really wanted them.
They're yours. You knew you were gonna get
No,
these.
I didn't. I hoped.
Nah,
I didn't know.
you knew.
I had a feeling. Well, how do they look?
You look good wearing my future.